Most people think fat burning is something that takes a long time to start. They imagine hours of effort, long fasting windows, waiting for their body to slowly shift from using sugar to finally tapping into fat. And because that's what they accept the delay. They accept that nothing seems to happen at first. But what if that delay is not actually necessary? What if your body is capable of switching into fat-burning mode much faster than you think, under the right conditions? Because there is a combination that changes everything. Not something extreme, not something complicated, but something so simple that most people overlook it completely. Walking while fasting. And when these two states come together, something very different begins to happen inside your body. It's not just that you start burning fat. It's that your body reaches that state faster. The switch that normally takes time begins to accelerate. And suddenly, what used to feel slow, delayed, and inconsistent starts to happen earlier. Sometimes much earlier than you expect. But this only works when your body is in the right internal state. Because fat burning is not triggered by effort alone. It's triggered by a shift in how your body sees energy, a shift in what fuel it chooses to use. And walking during fasting doesn't just wait for that shift to happen. It pushes your body toward it, faster than normal. So the real question is not just how to burn fat, but why this simple combination can unlock it sooner than almost anything else. Because once you understand that, you stop waiting for fat burning to begin, and you start triggering it on purpose. At the beginning of a fast, nothing feels different. Your body is still running on what it already has. Glucose is circulating, glycogen is full, energy is stable, and from the outside, it feels like the process should already be working. You're not eating, so logically your body should be burning fat. But it doesn't, because your body doesn't rush into fat burning. It delays it. It prefers to stay in its most efficient state for as long as possible. And that state is built around using glucose first. As long as there is sugar available, either in your blood or stored as glycogen, your body will continue to rely on it. This is why fat burning feels slow at the beginning. Because your body is buffering the transition. Glycogen acts like a bridge. It keeps your system stable during the early hours of fasting, so that your body doesn't have to immediately switch into a more complex fuel source. And as long as that bridge is intact, there is no urgency to change. So even though you are fasting, your body is not yet in fat-burning mode. It's still in a state of continuity, still using what is easiest, still delaying the shift. And this delay is not a flaw. It's intentional. Your body is designed to avoid unnecessary transitions. Switching fuel sources requires coordination. It requires hormonal changes. It requires your system to adjust. And your body will only do that when it absolutely needs to. So in the early phase, nothing dramatic happens. And that's where most people start to doubt the process. Because they expect to feel something, to see something, to notice a change. But instead, everything feels the same. And that creates the illusion that nothing is working. When in reality, your body is simply moving through its natural sequence. Glucose first, glycogen next, and only after that, fat. Which means the reason fat burning feels slow is not because your body can't do it. It's because your body is choosing not to do it yet. And once you understand that, the frustration starts to make sense. Because what you've been experiencing is not a delay caused by failure. It's a delay caused by design. Your body is not trying to slow you down. It's trying to protect stability. It wants to use the simplest, safest fuel first. It wants to avoid unnecessary shifts. It wants to make sure that moving into fat burning is actually required, not just possible. And until that moment comes, it will stay exactly where it is. So when you feel like fat burning is taking too long, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your body hasn't reached the point where it needs to change yet. And this is where most people start to push harder. They extend their fasting window. They try to force the transition. They assume that if they just wait longer, the switch will eventually happen. But time alone doesn't create urgency. Time alone doesn't force your body to switch. Because your body is not measuring time. It's measuring conditions. It's asking a different question entirely. Do I need to change, or can I stay where I am? And if the answer is that it can stay, it will. It will continue using what's available. It will continue delaying the shift. It will continue operating in that same stable state, even if you've been fasting longer than expected. This is why simply waiting is not always enough. Because the switch into fat burning is not triggered by time passing. It's triggered by a change in demand, a change that makes your current fuel no longer sufficient. A signal that tells your body, you can't stay here anymore. And without that signal, your body will remain exactly where it is. Which means the real breakthrough doesn't come from doing more of the same. It comes from introducing something that changes the equation entirely. Something that creates that demand. Something that removes the option to stay in the same state. And that's where everything begins to shift. Most people think that if they just fast long enough, their body will eventually switch into fat burning. That time alone is the trigger. That if they wait it out, the system will flip on its own. But that's not how it actually works. Time creates the opportunity, but it does not create the activation. Because your body doesn't respond to time passing. It responds to pressure changing. If your body can continue using glycogen, it will. If the current system still works, it won't change. Even if you've been fasting for hours, your body will stay in that same mode as long as it can maintain stability. So the idea that longer fasting equals faster fat burning is only partially true, because without a signal that forces your body to shift, nothing really changes. Your body just stretches the same state further. And this is why some people can fast for long periods and still not experience strong fat burning. They are waiting for something that time alone does not guarantee. What's missing is not duration. It's acceleration. Your body needs a reason to move faster through that sequence. A reason to deplete what it has more quickly. A reason to stop relying on glycogen and begin using fat sooner. And that reason comes from demand, from movement, from something that forces your body to use energy now, not later. This is where walking enters the picture. Because walking during fasting doesn't just burn energy. It changes how quickly your body runs out of its preferred fuel. It shortens the delay. It compresses the timeline. It takes what would normally happen slowly and speeds it up. So instead of waiting for your body to eventually switch, you are creating the condition that makes it switch sooner. Not by force, but by necessity. Because once your body can no longer rely on what it was using before, it has no choice but to adapt. And that adaptation is where fat burning begins. And this is where the combination becomes powerful. Because the moment you start walking while fasting, you introduce something your body cannot ignore. Demand. Your muscles need energy. Movement requires fuel. And when that demand appears in a fasted state, your body is forced to respond differently than it would at rest. Normally, glycogen would carry you for a while. It would buffer the transition, allowing your body to delay the shift into fat burning. But walking begins to draw from that reserve immediately. Every step you take starts to drain what your body was relying on. And as that reserve begins to drop faster, your body reaches a critical point sooner, the point where it can no longer stay in the same state. So instead of slowly moving through the sequence, your body starts accelerating through it. Glycogen depletes faster, glucose becomes less available sooner. And this creates pressure, not the kind that causes stress, but the kind that forces adaptation. At the same time, something else happens. AMPK begins to rise more quickly. This signal, which tells your body that energy is limited and efficiency is required, responds strongly to both fasting and movement. So when you combine the two, the signal becomes amplified, stronger, clearer, more urgent. And because walking is low intensity, it doesn't push your body into a high-stress state. It doesn't spike cortisol the way intense exercise can. So instead of creating conflicting signals, it reinforces the shift. Low insulin from fasting, increased demand from walking, stronger AMPK activation, all moving in the same direction. And when signals align like this, your body doesn't hesitate. It transitions faster than it normally would. This is why walking during fasting feels different, because you are no longer waiting for your body to reach that point. You are bringing it there. You are creating the exact conditions that remove the delay and move your body into fat-burning mode sooner than expected. Not by doing more, but by doing it at the right time, in the right state, with the right signal. If you slow this process down and watch it unfold minute by minute, you begin to see just how much faster everything starts to happen. In the first few minutes of your walk, your body immediately checks its state. If you are fasting, glucose is already lower, insulin is down, and the system is already leaning toward using stored energy. So from the very beginning, your body is closer to that shift than it would be in a fed state. Around the 5 to 15-minute mark, something important starts to happen. Your muscles are demanding energy, and glycogen begins to drop faster than it normally would. What might have taken much longer at rest is now being used at an accelerated pace. Your body feels that change. It recognizes that its preferred fuel is running out sooner than expected, and that's when the transition begins to move forward. Between 15 to 25 minutes, the shift becomes more noticeable. Your body starts increasing fat usage, not as a backup, but as a growing primary source. The signals become clearer. Insulin remains low, glycogen is no longer sufficient, and AMPK continues to rise. Your system is no longer hesitating between options, it's choosing. And once you move beyond that point, something stabilizes. After 25 minutes and beyond, your body settles into a different rhythm. Fat becomes a steady fuel source, not just something used occasionally, but something relied on consistently. The transition that normally takes time has already happened, because walking compressed it. What used to be delayed is now accelerated. What used to require waiting is now triggered, and this is why the experience feels different. Because your body is not slowly approaching fat burning. It has already entered it. The longer you stay in motion within this state, the more stable that system becomes. Your body stops switching back and forth. It stops searching for easier fuel. It commits. And that commitment is what most people never reach. Not because they can't, but because they never create the conditions that bring them there faster. So what looks like a simple walk is actually a sequence, a progression where your body moves through its energy systems more quickly than it normally would. And once it reaches that final phase, You are no longer waiting for fat burning to begin. You are already inside it. And once you reach that state, you start to notice something that most people don't expect. It doesn't feel harder. It feels easier. Your energy becomes steady. Not the kind that spikes and drops, but the kind that stays with you. Your body stops sending urgent signals to eat. Hunger feels quieter, less demanding, almost like it's no longer in control of you. Because in this state, your body is no longer dependent on incoming fuel. It's using what it already has. And that changes everything about how movement feels. You're not pushing through exhaustion. You're not forcing your body to keep going. You're simply moving while your system is already supplying what you need. And that creates a sense of stability that most people have never experienced before. This is what it means to enter fat-burning mode faster. Not just that fat is being used, but that your body transitions into that state sooner and stays there more consistently. And once you experience that, your entire perspective shifts, because you realize that fat burning is not something you have to wait for. It's something you can trigger. Not by doing more, not by pushing harder, but by aligning your actions with the state your body needs to respond. You begin to see walking differently. It's no longer just exercise. It's a tool. A way to accelerate the transition your body is already designed to make. A way to remove the delay that normally keeps you stuck in that early phase. And the more consistently you use it in the right state, the more natural it becomes for your body to enter that mode. The faster the switch happens, the less resistance you feel, and the more your body begins to work with you instead of against you. So instead of waiting hours or days for fat burning to begin, you start creating the conditions that bring it forward. You stop relying on time, and you start controlling the signal. Because once you understand this, you're no longer just walking. You're accelerating a system your body already knows how to use. And when that system turns on sooner, everything begins to change.